Good morning, everyone. We are here at the Heights Early Head Start and Head Start Center, and we are going to go through the process to ensure that your children are safety. And we will meet with the center director, Marie. And so let's get started. Good morning, Marie. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you, Jenny?
I'm doing fine. So we are going to show the parents how safe their children will be in your center.
Awesome.
So if you can, go through the process with us, we
Sure.
appreciate it.
So the first thing that you can expect when you come here is we do have staff members that are assigned to assist your child through our health screening process. So we have teacher Anna here. She is already in her PPE. Some things that you'll notice is she is wearing a face shield that has the eye protection in the mouth in addition to a mask. She's also wearing an apron, gloves, and she has her health screening checklist with her to give the questions to the children. It is a lot of questions, but they're all in alignment with the CDC recommendations and state licensing. So you can expect some questions about your travel patterns, how your child has been doing, do they have some symptoms, and we have very specific symptoms that we're asking for. We are also asking if your kiddo has had Tylenol or any fever-reducing drugs in their system, so that way we can make sure we get an accurate temperature check for them. So after we finish with all of our questions that are directed towards the parent, we're also going to do a temperature check. So we have these thermal no-touch thermometers, so we can still keep our distance from the children. And once we have finished with the temperature, then we will admit the child for entry. So we will sign them in, we'll transition them from your care. We will have them use hand sanitizer before they enter the classroom, provide them with one of our school-provided masks, and then escort them into the classroom to wash their hands and get ready for school.
So can I go in with them if I'm a parent?
So we ask that you stay outside. Right now we aren't allowing any volunteers into the classroom just for the safety, but we do allow for you to transition your kiddo out in the parking lot. We give you as much time as you need so that way they feel comfortable and safe coming to school. Hello, teacher.
Hello. Welcome. Come on in.
Thank you.
We are going to wash our hands. We're going to follow the arrows that are on the floor. What are the arrows for? These are the arrows to keep our distance, to keep our 6 feet apart from each other. Okay? And we're going to wash our hands. Here's the soap, the running water, paper towels, the trash can where we toss our paper towels. And after we wash our hands, we're going to have a sit on our design numbers that are on the tables. And we're going to do a daily checkup again. Then we're going to continue with our activities. When we do activities, each kid have their own designated bucket with their own stuff. We did our changes. So what we do after we do breakfast or when we finish with the activities we're doing, the kids stay in their own spot. They don't come together. We stay on their chairs and we start doing circle from here. So what I do, we do all the calendar, the weather, numbers, letters, whatever we're doing that day. And then we do a story time. So I stand here with the book and they will be able to see me. Like these kids here, because they're too close, they can't see the circle. So I move them around so they can see. And they still keeping their distance from other kids. We do all kind of physical activities just to help them to release their energy or whatever they're feeling. And then after that, we can just continue with the next step. Okay. We can be areas, or it can be art, whatever is coming up the next step. So how do the children distance themselves when they're doing physical activity indoors? When they stay on the design chairs or spots, what they do is just like they get up, they stand on their own spot, and then we kept doing our physical activities. Okay. Yes. And then can you tell us a little bit about the areas? How many children do you have in the areas being that we have to have this distance? Okay, we have one area for each student. Okay? So the way we do the transition, they wait on their spot, They wait for us to call their names. We give them their own names, and they go to the area they choose to go. And let me show you the areas. They have their own name. They say they want to come here. They put the name here, and that indicates that that's for one person, and that's the dot, so they can match the number with the dot. And they stay under our areas. If we have less kids, let's say we have 11 kids, and one of the students get bored to be in that area, we have that extra area for them, so they can move to that area while we sanitize this one, and that's why we would move kids around. So they have more choices in case they get bored in one area. They do have to wear their mask when they're outside. When they're playing outdoors, they have to wear their masks all the time. And we do hand sanitizer when we are outside. When we come back and it's time to do lunch, they sit on their numbers. We give them a paper bag where they put their mask while they have lunch. They put the mask on where they finish eating. They go to the bathroom, and they're ready for nap. No more family styles. We have to serve themselves now. We have to have that food ready for them, so they're not touching all the utensils that we use to serve the food.
So this is one of our toddler rooms. It generally has children 18 to 24 months. This classroom will have 8 children in it with 2 teachers. As you can see, similarly to the Head Start classroom, we have our tables that are physically distanced to help keep our children as far away from each other as physically possible in the space that we have, but to continue to keep them safe while they're eating. Similarly, we help the children indicate where they are to sit based on these numbers, just so that way we know that we are always keeping our distance at the table. In this room, just like the other one, they're going to be entering through this door. Immediately, they'll be escorted right to this sink to wash their hands. From there, it's based on the schedule for the classroom, but similarly, you will see that there are areas designated for each learning domain, and they have been consolidated to have one child in each area.
Can you explain those?
Yeah, so these are additional visual cues to help remind these children to try their best to stay distant. At this age group, they aren't as used to having their own areas. They're used to having play with each other. So we're going to help build those skills by having these visual reminders on the floor that this is my space. I stay far from my friends to keep them safe. So those are some additions that we have for this upcoming school year. We do sanitize our items between each use of the child. So you'll notice in this area, we have the children place their used items in these buckets. It helps give them some of that ownership of what they've used and some responsibility when they then take this bucket to an area that's going to be sanitized. So it helps those children get into the routine of knowing that this item needs to be cleaned before we use it again. So each of these areas have that designated bucket for them. They then take this with them. For this classroom, they immediately will go outside to the playground for their outside time. So there is a bucket in the front that they will then place their items in, and then a staff member will come and clean those items before they're able to be put back into the classroom for use. For rest time, that is one of the few times that children will be taking off their masks. So because of that, we really want to make sure that we are maintaining that physical distancing. So in the classroom, the teachers have indicated where the children's mats are already pre-measured to make sure that they are 6 feet apart. If they aren't 6 feet apart, then we make sure that the children are laying down head to toe, so that way it enhances that distance. So for example, here you will notice the number 8. That is for our kiddo whose name is associated with that number because they each have their own mat, they have their own blanket, and this is their spot. That way we make sure every day we have it in the same place and it is 6 feet apart from all the other children. All right, so some additional health and safety procedures we are doing is we are screening our staff, every volunteer, every person that enters the center. So similar to the children, we do have a number of questions that we ask staff, and then we also use one of our thermometers to do a temperature check upon letting them into the center. I also have visual markers to make sure that while we're doing this, we are still remaining 6 feet apart while we do our screening. If the staff is able to demonstrate that they are healthy and well to be in the center, their temperature is below 100.4, then they will come into the center, immediately wash their hands, sign in, and get ready to start their day.